We were just at Dornburn and we got to meet Charlotte for the first time and Marlise and Manu and just the rest of the team there, primarily Marlise and then also Kirsten. And we had just an amazing time with
Mhm.
that. And it was really great also because of the dream building that goes on. And speaking of dream building, some of you that got here early, that's our view right now off our balcony. We are on the big island of Hawaii. That is actually my mom right there.
Yep.
I forgot that she was back there.
The reason why we're here.
Yeah, we're gonna be
Yep.
spreading her ashes. That was her dream. Oops, wait, there's two people trying to get in. Sorry,
Mhm.
get them
Awesome.
in here.
Super.
That was her big dream. She wanted to have her ashes spread in Hawaii. That's why we're here. But anyhow, in Dornburn, it was just an amazing time. Lots of dream building going on. You see these people walking across the stage, earning $1 million and more, right? And right now, to my count, it's 7 people that have earned over $1 million for a total payout of $11 million to those 7 people, which is pretty phenomenal. Seeing Martin get 2 of those gold bars at one time was pretty impressive, right?
Mhm.
Ikra, the 75-year-old, she's at 1.6 million right now. She's working on her second million. So it's just really powerful. And so Stephen and I, last week, for anyone who was here, I said, well, let's take this offline. Let's just have a real conversation about it, right? So we had a mentoring call and it ended up going about an hour and 15 minutes long. And it was a lot covered in that call. Wouldn't you agree, Stephen? And
Yes, definitely.
yeah, but it was very beneficial. And then I'm going to go to my shared screen and start going through some of these slides. I built a whole presentation for this. Took me like 2 hours to put together. Realize that, but let's see here because I wanted to make sure I had my notes. And so anyhow, so we had this mentoring session. A lot of it was dealing with the focus and dedicating time to this business, to Sealy itself. It's really easy to get distracted with other things that are going on in the life. So, one of the things that works well for me is to pre-plan the week out. And like I gotta get rid of this. It's driving me nuts. Okay. One of the things that works really well for me is to say, okay, this hours I'm going to be working my Sealy business and pretty much hold ourselves to that. Primarily, we do that in the morning, and then we have another scheduled allotment in the afternoon where we
Mhm.
can dedicate an hour or more to our business, right? I mean, we're kind of like full-time, part-time, if you will, but that's shifting. And Dornburn really solidified into me that I need to go more full-time on this business.
Mhm.
And so there's going to be more time allotted during the week. So what is it for you? What are you looking for to be able to get out of Sealy? And then let's figure out the amount of time you have available. And if you say you don't have the time, which a lot of new people are going to tell you they don't have the time, um, that let's figure out how we can carve out some time during that week. I also wanted to welcome on Lisa, who just joined us last week with an intro pack. Really happy and excited for you to be here too. So let's see here. And then Stephen went into, well, what he sees his overall mission is as a mission to God and to deliver the message to God and bring people to God. Now, I'm bringing that out, and not everybody is a believer here on this call, and that's totally fine. This is going to be an analogy, but it only goes so far, of course. But what it did do is sparked something inside of me. And Stephen, I cannot thank you enough. I mean, this call was for you, but I think I got as much or even possibly more out of it because you sparked something in me, which is what I want to talk about on this call today. And so I asked Stephen this question, and I want you to think about it too. And I'm going to give you my answer, but think about it. When you think about the Sealy business, what is the basic business model? All right. So, I mean, what did you say the first time I asked you? Do you remember?
I actually said the vision.
The vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was saying a million users. And that's true, but that's more the vision than it is the basic business model. So the business model is to move product,
Product.
right? If product is not being sold, then the business model doesn't exist, right? We don't
Mhm.
exist. The company doesn't exist. So the basic business model of Sealy is to move product. All right. What's the company's vision? That's what Elka was saying, 1 million users per month, healthier and often actually we save lives. We're keeping people healthier. We're saving lives, or at least at the very minimum, improving it. Even if somebody says, I didn't notice anything, right? We know from the science, especially if you would have spent a
Right.
week like we did with Rich, the scientist, you would also understand more fully how this product is really working with the body. I'm not sure if that was Steven, but if you could mute yourself, that would be great because I don't have it called up right now. Longevity, vitality, reverse aging, right? We've got the before and afters for that, stave off any kind of illness and disease, and to include cancer. And one of the things that we learned that Rich, and when we were up in Frankfurt's meeting, is that the whole reason he started going down this path of this aquaceutical nanotechnology is because one of his good friends came down with cancer, and he wanted to see if he could develop a way to help him. And
Yeah.
that's really where all this came from. Now, of course, we can't make medical claims. You can't say what I got written here in public to anybody, right?
Yeah.
But amongst us, we can have an open and honest conversation. We do know that we are helping people with cancer. We
Yep.
just know it.
Yep.
I mean, look at Mark Smith art. And if you've never seen his video, it's on our boards. He was given 120 days to live.
That was 5
Two
years ago.
lymphomic cancer and something else. 120 days to live, and that was 6 years ago.
Years.
And he's still alive today. So we definitely know we're doing something good. Now, the other thing that Stephen asked me in this was, well, how did Europe do it? How is Europe exploding like they're exploding, and we can't seem to get the United States off the ground? And again, Stephen, fantastic question. I'm glad you asked it because it also stirred part of this vision that I had for us and our team, and not only help Marlise and Martina over there in Europe and their teams, but also us here in the United States. All right. All but Martin Riff, who is the top income earner in the company, have built primarily through sharing the product. Ikara was a sold cotton candy at the carnivals, the fests, and she basically had to borrow money in order to get started. And now 3 years later, or 4 years later, she's at $1.6 million. She never used social media. She just talked to people, right? And I'm thinking about all these stories of people that are hitting the big money there in Europe. And I'm like, what are they doing? Right. And it just keeps coming back to this right up here. What is the very basic business model of Sealy? It's not about the 222 and getting teams and making all this money. It's about helping people live a healthier life by
And it's,
simply sharing the
and it's
product.
authentic.
And it's authentic. Let me keep the
Yes,
time hack going here.
absolutely.
All right. And we may go a little long today. Hopefully everybody's okay with that. But anyhow, so who benefits when we do that, right? Um, the end user, right? They got better health. Isn't that freaking awesome? Us, the affiliates, act of kindness because you thought enough of that other person to reach out to them and help them to become healthier, maybe help them if they've got a health challenge to help them with that, or just because you cared enough to share this with them. And then the byproduct, yeah, you can make some little bit of money. You can make a whole heck of a lot of money, all right? And help improve yourself as well. All right, Jack. Okay. And then the company, right? They're profitable. Right now, we are completely 100% debt free.
Free.
Brad Marcia Hager own the company. All right. So we don't have any outside investors that we have to answer to. It's Brad Marcia only. That is all helping towards our growth and stability. And then everyone wins, right? So how do you see yourself fitting into this mission? And now, if you're not familiar, the company is running a special promotion this month. And I started thinking about all this that you're seeing on the slide right here. And I started in my head, it just started running through some numbers. Actually, I was hiking back in Colorado, and I started running through some of these numbers in my head. And I'm going, this is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm not sure if everybody grasps just how incredible this can be for your team, for the company, and for all the people that we can help. And what I did is gonna break this out as simple as I possibly can. We're talking, this is the numbers I'm gonna show you are the absolute bare bone
Mhm. I
minimum.
just want to add, you know, I know.
He's
it's so
touching me
funny.
on the leg.
But and we don't have to think network marketing, building teams. He really broke it down to the concept of being a product sharer. No?
You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I think that's important.
you're right.
Because the
Exactly.
numbers will we're going to go into business mode, but this is really truly just examples for the numbers and just to share the product. So I think that's,
Yeah, and
yeah,
actually, this is not business mode. That's the whole purpose of this
yeah.
because some people, I'm so glad you said it that way because this is not about the business mode. This is about the mission, right? This is about getting 1 million users to take this product. And this is what that came out of that call that I was having with Steven. I mean, it was like a light bulb went on in my head and getting back to the basics, right? And you think about all those top income earners over there in Europe, how did they do it?
You
They
just share
shared the product, right? They were sharing and helping people to become healthier. Martina, it's so good to see you. All right, let me go back to shared screen. So these are some basic numbers. Oh, first of all, before we get to that, the company promotion itself. So if you haven't seen this, so I'm not going to cover this in great detail. I'm sure Brad will again on the corporate call. But just understand, you personally sponsor 10 new members with a consumer pack or higher. All right, that's huge. We've run this promotion in the past, but it had to be a business builder pack, like an intro network or a pro pack. This month, even a consumer pack counts towards their 10.
amazing.
We've got 4 of our 10 already. All right, we're about a week through, so we are on track to hit our 10. I ask yourselves, where are you guys right now for this promotion? Are you truly running for it, or are you just kind of hoping it's going to happen? Because if you really take this on, this promotion can literally change your business. Okay, somebody is,
Duplication.
let me mute that. Okay. So 10 people, everybody's got to be on auto ship. Okay. We're an auto ship driven company, as you know, and that's also going to factor into what I'm going to talk about. But you get those 10, you not only get $1,500 of free Sealy products, right? You get a free pro pack. He's also giving you the C5 rank. So let's say maybe you've been a C5, a C6, C7, but you reverted because the volume's dropped off for whatever reason. And you're back down to a C4 or C3, or you've been a C4 and you're back down to a C3. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long you've been here, if you're brand new, all right? You hit this, you get 10 new people because you're sharing the love of Sealy, helping them to be healthier, sharing and doing an act of kindness by reaching out to them. And that's what I'm doing. How did I get our for? I am going back and talking to people that I have talked to for years about this and helping them understand the value of what we really have here, as well as some new contacts. And we're going to talk about a cold market prospect here in a little bit as well. So that's huge, right? C5 until the end of the year. That is the only business part of this talk. And then we are tacking on for our team, people that are on our team, which is most of the people here. You get a new rank, organic rank this month. So you're a C2, you hit C3 this month. You're going to get $300 from Elka and I on top of this, whatever else you get from the company. You go from C4 to C5, that's a $500, right? C5 to C6, that's $600. So we're just trying to help add a little bit of incentive because one of the things there's a little kid out here naked. Oh my gosh. You just never know, right? What's going to happen on a live call. Um, so the bottom line that this promotion can do for you is to start building you momentum. That is one thing they did do there in Europe is they created massive momentum. All right. And so how do you create that momentum? One of the things when you've been here for a while, it's easy to kind of get a little too comfortable and not stepping outside that comfort zone again and going on a massive recruiting spree. Right. So we hit last 2 months ago, we hit last month, and now we're hitting this month as well. So that's building momentum for the entire team. And now just think if everyone takes that on, right? So what I wanted to do is break these numbers down very simply. All right. And if you don't understand, this is being recorded. You can go back and watch the recording.
Yes.
You help 10 people get started, hit the company promotion. That's awesome, right? Everybody, the numbers I'm going to show you is just people coming in with a consumer pack, not an intro, not a network or a pro pack. So if people are coming in with a business builder pack, that's only going to increase these numbers. help each with at least one person getting started with a consumer pack. So each of those 10, right? So you got 10 people for the corporate promotion, and you help each of them not get their two, right? Just help them get one person. Share this with one person. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a friend, all right? Maybe it's a cold contact off of Facebook. I don't care, but help them get at least one person into their business. Most people, if they really start doing this, they're going to get at least two or three. But again, I'm keeping the numbers very simple. Each of those 10 gets just one person. That would be 20 people this month, all right, into your business. Because of this, we're going to do an extra product call on the 30th of September that you can start building for, not for the people that are already in your business, but these 20 people, right? The 10 people that come on, and then those 10 people, and we're building up towards this product call at the last day of the month. Close out this month super strong. Okay, lots of numbers here. I don't want you to get all wrapped up with it. I just want you to know I thought this through to come up
Mhm.
with this. If you do that, just this, all right, regardless of what rank you are, you get $134 from the personal sales
Okay.
bonus. You get $1,500 for the retail product. You get $200 from us. Okay, because if you got 10 people, 5 and 5 on either side, you're going to have your C2 rank if you're brand new. $10 from the team bonus. That's $1,844 total cash and product that a brand new person that just joined today with a consumer pack could earn by the end of this month. And
Mhm.
if you help each of those 10 people to see this, I mean, I'm telling you, you can build some great momentum. Now look at this. By October, and you're at C5 ranking, right? Because you hit the company promotion, and each of those each get one new people, those added 10. Anyhow, you're going to have 40 people into your business, and you're looking at $277 plus the mentor bonus now, which kicks up to 15% because you're a C5. In November, you keep duplicating this out. You got 60 people new in 3 months, and you're at 542 plus the mentor bonus. But look at what happens in December. Look at how this starts to jump.
Mhm.
All right. You went from $134 this month for the team bonus up to 800 or the team bonus, personal sale bonus up to $817. So here's the main point of all that. Just by doing the very basics and
Mhm. It's
just don't
possible.
get all wrapped up in trying to make big money here. Just help each person share this with one other person.
Mhm.
All right. You can go back shit crazy with this business. All right.
Yeah.
This is how Europe sort of did it. They were
Mhm.
just out there sharing the product. But look at this. So let me finish this thought. Okay. Sponsor tree volume is what this is. That's what your rank's based on. Just in passive income, you're looking at 4,000 BV. Only everybody just brought in one person, just selling a bottle of Swish. That doesn't even include, ongoing residual of bottle of Swish and ageless. I just did one bottle. Realistically, 5,000 business volume is your C4 ranking, right? And see 5,000 volume is C4 ranking. So you're at 4,000 just off of all that. No extra, no extra anything on top of it. So easily, and that would be roughly about 2,000 bucks in your pocket, but easily, if you engage and get really excited about this and start broadening the vision of what we're really talking about in this, and that's why I encourage you, if you're not grasping this, to go back and watch the recording. You could be a C5 by Christmas and earning around
Organically. Yep.
$5,000 monthly if
Mhm.
you take this simple business model to heart. Now, if you really go after this and you're bringing on business builder packs, or people are really going out there and the team's motivated and everything, you can blow this out. You could easily hit C6, maybe even C7 by the end of the year.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now I forgot
Forgot
what
what
I
you're going
was
to talk
gonna
about.
say,
Great.
but no, what's in really important because
Okay. Let
you
me
look
stop
at
sharing.
now all these numbers, right? And I personally go back into the business mode, but it really is just an example. So what's possible?
Mhm.
That's what's so powerful because he is more the business, going after business people, networkers. And so when you talk about the numbers, it gets really sometimes misunderstood just about the business, but what's possible here, and that's what's so cool,
And how
with
many
that
people can
one.
you help? I
Yes,
mean,
exactly. That's what it goes
it
back
really
to.
comes back to. So Now, how do you put this into action, right? We've all or not everybody, it's somebody that's brand new. We want to help them dive into their warm market, right? That's what we want to do. VGOs still work, virtual grand openings, where you do a Zoom call with a bunch of people they invite. We used to make a big production about this. We don't anymore. It's just, hey, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 people you want to have us do a call with? We're glad to do that. Very low
Absolutely.
key, nice and easy to go. You can share recorded webinars. You can share product information, the product calls. We got all that on board,
And
right?
then do three-way
Boards.
calls. Yep.
And then the three-way calls. Okay, that's a whole separate training. So, one of the things that a lot of people that, once they've gone through that warm market, all right, and they're still looking for new prospects, a lot of people do use social media, and it's not required, but a lot of people do, including myself, right? Now, that was one of the things in Dornbirn. I probably had over 100 people coming up to me going, "Oh my God, it's so nice to meet you in person," because, they're either a part of Sealy guy or they see my posts all the time. So it was really kind of cool that even though you don't sometimes think you're like Danya, it's out there every day making her posts. You may not think people are watching, but man,
They are
people
watching.
are watching, right?
Yep.
So social media is a great place to go if you don't have a warm market. What I do encourage is with all warm markets is you can pre-qualify, can a person get started with a pro pack or should we just work on a consumer pack, depending on their resources, but don't prejudge. You don't know what's going on in a person's life. You don't know what, that no, they're not going to want to pay $90 for this product. Don't prejudge like that. You go in saying this person needs this product. We know what we have. How can I help them understand and see that value? So I wanted to go through, Jack and I have been playing around with something, and I know he got a positive hit. I've gotten several positive hits. And this guy, he reached out with this. I'm going for business, so I'm making money posts, right? He goes, I'm looking to do something while I'm searching for an investor for my company. Quick question. Is this a pyramid? Hope all is well. All right. And we
So
were,
this is actually a conversation you
yeah, this is
picked.
from Messenger. This is a
Mhm.
screenshot from Messenger,
Yep.
right? And we'll just call him John. All right. Just oh man, beautiful yellow bird. Okay, we'll call him John. So John reaches out. I had a post on there. If you're not making $20,000 per month, give me a call or something like that. And this was his response to that post. Now, how would you, and we don't have time, I would love to have this in a discussion. Maybe we'll do that next week on Monday's call.
Mhm.
How would you, and write this down, how would you respond to that?
Think about it. How would you respond? No.
Yep. How would you respond to this comment? Right. So, first of all, I paused. That's the most important thing. I didn't react and just go, oh man, what are you talking about this being a pyramid? It's not a pyramid. Blah, 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 blah. All right. I thought about it for a little while. And then we were actually landed in Denver from Europe. And I saw the message. And it wasn't until a while later, I think we were on the bus ride towards the car, that I responded. And this is what I responded with. I said, not a pyramid. It is network marketing right up front. Hey, dude, if he doesn't want to have anything to do with network marketing, maybe he doesn't understand it, but at least I'm filtering out and not going to be wasting my time with the guy, right?
Mhm.
It's bona fide real business by the government. 6 years and running strong is basically our company. How many hours per week? So no BS, no flowery words, just straight to the point. He's a business owner, right? He's looking for investors. He doesn't want the fluff. Now, if this had been somebody else and asked the question in a different way with a lot more flowery words, then that's how I would have responded. I would have been a little bit, I'm going to speak into his or her language. All
Yeah.
right. So you can see very short and succinct. He goes, I'm open if something's where I'm able to make great money. Well, can we make great money here or what? Right? We got $1 million earners. I've owned my own companies most of my life. If it's something that works out for both sides, I've worked 18-hour days running my restaurants and so on. So he's just giving me a lot of information in that little blurb. Here's my cell phone number. And then I said, I'm in process of picking up our car at the airport and we'll be driving home for the next couple hours. Would maybe in 30 to 40 minutes work? He says, okay, perfect. So then we have this phone call with Elka. It's 45 minutes long. And the phone call starts out with, it goes, okay, what is this? Basically, right? Now think about this again. How are you going to respond when somebody you call, because they're going to do that to you, right? I just want to know what this is. I diverted the conversation. I'm not going to answer that question
Right
because
now.
he's not listening yet,
Mhm.
right? That's why building rapport is so very important. I asked questions and a lot of them, pulling out information from him, building that rapport is about 15 minutes just of that. So
Yeah.
so like, what is that? 35% of the phone call had nothing to do with the business, just learning about him and what his interests are. And one of those things is
Word-
that,
The word Sealy never even came up.
yeah, in those 15 minutes, nothing
Yeah.
about what we're doing. I'm just asking him questions exactly, pulling information from him. Because this was another thing going back to Stephen, right? Let me do this real quick. Going back to this conversation with Stephen, all right? What is the main job that we're trying to do with our product for a person? We want to help solve a problem, right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's sales 101, but I'm trying to not make this about sales. I'm just trying to make this as basic as possible for sharing the product, right? So if you want to solve a problem, you got to know what the problem is,
Mhm.
right? So that's why this discovery portion of this call is so very important. So found out he's not only an entrepreneur, but he's a health nut. He knows all about these supplements and he knows these doctors and everything else. Elka and I are looking at each other. Are you freaking kidding me? This is fantastic, right? So I shifted when I did get to Sealy and what we're doing. I shifted from I'm thinking I'm going into this call to talk about the business model and the prosperity
Money.
plan, the money and everything else. I never even talked about that hardly. Very little, right? Because he did want to know about how money can be made, but it was primarily around the product.
Mm.
Huge, folks. I hope you gravitate towards this. Just like how I, on the left side of the screen, I said, not a pyramid, it is network marketing. All right.
And
Again,
then zip it.
and
Right.
then zip it, but it's also about getting to the point of what his listening is all going to be about. I know if I talk about business, he may be half listening, but if I'm talking about something he's passionate about, health, then I might grab his attention. So I set a follow up. We finished the call, set up a follow up, and emailed him an info pack. Now, this was the info pack that I mailed him. Again, this is recorded. You can go back and take a look at this in greater detail, just kind of give you an idea. Um, and as you can see from here, it goes along with what Brad was talking about. Okay, and setting up a info pack. Brad's been giving some really great information on his founders calls. If you're not joining those, you can't join it
Oh my
live.
gosh.
And there's one this Wednesday. Make sure you're going back and listening to those recordings. I mean, the information is just valuable. Anyhow, so the next afternoon, right? I didn't do it in the morning. We were going to have a follow-up call. It was booked for 2 o'clock. That 13:38 is 2:40. Okay, 2:40 p.m. in the afternoon.
1:40. Yeah.
I had built a follow-up call for 4 p.m. I think it was, or 2 p.m. my time. Yeah. So in 20 minutes, right? 20 minutes later, we were supposed to have our call. Good afternoon. You can see his name. That's fine. Have you taken a look at some of the info yet? What have you liked best of what you've seen thus far? I'm available for that Zoom call in 20 minutes. I'm assuming he's going to be there, but I don't know because I hadn't heard anything from him. Hi, sorry, doctor appointments. Okay, here come the excuses. Now, if a person's hungry, excuses aren't going to matter.
Yeah.
This would be as important or more important than the doctor's appointments, right? He would have figured out a way. Hey, I can call you towards the doctor's appointment. I can call you right when I get home. So this tells me right here, and this I'm sharing this so because I've got a wealth of experience. Somebody that's brand new is not going to have that. So if you're brand new and you're working with somebody, help them. That's why the three-way calls are so important. This is why if you're working with a prospect, sharing this with the person that's got more experience is so important because we can see what's going on behind the scenes. All right. Read between the lines, if you will. So this is excuses. That's what I see right there. Right. So the call doesn't happen. I just finally respond because I got on another call. I'm like, well, he's not going to do that. I got on another call. You can see it wasn't until 2:45 I finally was able to respond to him. Okay, fine. Then 2 days go by, right? I'm not reaching out to this guy. I'm not trying to get him in
Chasing.
my business. I'm not trying to get him to try the product. I want him to want to or desire to, right?
Mhm.
So 2 days later at 7:40, he finally writes back, sorry for the delay, lots going on. Regardless, I don't think this is for me. I'm sure it's great, but I believe it's something I wouldn't be into. Thank you for sharing this in the opportunity. All the best to you and your wife. And I'm like, okay. So he sends it at 7:39. Again, a pause, right? I got to think about this. How am I going to respond? And I said, you are welcome, no worries, but you're not even open to trying the product for yourself, knowing that he's a health nut. This I do not understand. Can you clarify for me? I didn't accept his no. In other words, I didn't know I'm able to try the product. He's thinking business, right? He's a businessman.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about just trying the product for himself. And And then he goes, is it a CBD oil or is it a water-based product? And we had talked about all this in that 45-minute call. Just shows you how people aren't necessarily
Listen
listening
or
to what you're
understand
saying
where
and
you're saying.
grasping it. So
Mhm.
you may think they understand it, but the only way you're going to know it is to ask them. All right. So it's not an oil and the Ageless has no CBD. Let me send you another video. So I sent him this video with the martini glasses because he asked if it's water-based or if it's whatever the other part of it was, right? An oil. So this is a great video. I use this one a lot. He goes, I know CBD works for a lot of people, but it's not something I would sell because it's something I'm not passionate about. I get that. This is with the CBD, but understand Ageless is the same technology, it's just zero CBD. All right. So then he writes me back this. I just watched the video. I understand the concept, and it's not something I'm interested in. Like I said, it's probably great for most individuals, but I would want to be passionate about it. Plus, I haven't tried the product to see if it affects me or I have any clarity from it. Thank you. And then there was some text in here I didn't include because this is the important last text here. I can at least try it and see if it works for me. What's the normal wholesale cost and how much to sell it for, blah, 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 blah. And the money, he got confused because this is an older video before Brad lowered the price and increased the bottle from 6 to 6.5 ounces. So there was a little confusion here. So, okay, how are we doing on time? All right, perfect. So here's a debrief. This is what I took away from all this. All right. He was a somewhat of a definitive no. How many people would have just moved on? How many of you, all right, and ask yourself, and this is not to beat anybody up. This is about becoming smarter on how to work with people and getting
Mhm.
connections with people, right? And remember, this is cold market. I don't really know this guy. So what from a definitive no, he said it twice to me. Guess what happened? I still got him to sign up with a consumer pack. All
Mhm.
right. Um, but the whole thing is a little confusing to me. He's a health nut, and we talked at length on supplements, medical professionals, our USP, unique selling proposition, or technology, or effectiveness, and all that. And why didn't the guy want to at least, jump right in? Well, at least let me try it before I think about the business. But he didn't. And so Elke and I were talking, and I said, you know what I think it is for based on my experience, is he didn't have the money to get started. And I go back and I started reflecting on the conversation and he's talking about trying to find investors for his to get a new business off the ground, right? He's
Mhm.
looking for some money in the meantime. And I'm like, you know what? Why wouldn't he have spent $89 right off the bat to get started, right? Or at least ask, hey, what's the most effective way for me to get started? He never asked that question. He just came back that last text about, oh, what's the wholesale price? $59. I mean, somebody that can afford things, they're not asking about the money. They don't care,
They're
right? How
gonna
much it
try it.
costs. So the fact that this came up about 2 or 3 times in the text messages plus on the phone had me believe that money was the main objective for him. He's like, you know what? I'm already doing good. I got good health. I don't really need this stuff. All right. What are your thoughts on what the objection may be? All right. So anyhow, that I think is it, right? So we're at
And
the
you know what's interesting is, as we're sitting here talking, there's always, and that's why I love these debrief talks, because there's always things that you can have said different in after each conversation, literally. Like, for example, when it comes to mind for me here is like to ask him about his health, because it was a business call first,
right.
so it's just interesting. So there's never, even when people sign up, there's never the super 100% perfect conversation
Yeah.
because there's always something new that comes up later.
So here's the bottom line. Take what we talked about here, go back and listen to it if it went a little fast, especially those that aren't native to English. And so you can kind of comprehend and get a good understanding of what we're talking about. And then use your upline, use your support team to go over if you have questions on this or stuff, or
Mhm.
reach out to us. Yeah, we're here in Hawaii, but we're always
We are
available.
working.
We'll
We are
always
working.
we'll schedule a time to be able to have that conversation. Might not be able to do it right then, but if you reach out, we'll more than happy to do that. Excuse me, just like Steven did. And I'll tell
Mhm.
you something else, Steven impressed the heck out of me. We had set a time or a proposed time, and Steven called me on the dot on that time. I can't tell you how many people don't do that. So if we schedule a time, just honor that and let's be ready to go. All right. And So take all this away is share the love. Help
Yep.
one person get started on this product and then help another person. And while you're good shooting for your 10, go back to the first and help them understand, hey, who do you know? Just one person, who do you know that could also benefit from this? Instead of overloading them with trying to get, 10 people in, don't do that. All right. Don't tell them all about the business model and everything else. Just who do you know? One person. Just tell me one person. Who do you know that could benefit from this?
Yep.
And I'm telling you, if you break it down to that simplicity, it'll be impossible for me to believe that everybody on this phone can't bring in at least one person.
Yeah.
All right, this month.
Yeah.
And when you bring in one, do it again. You bring in two. All right. If you think of 10, you might be going, oh my God, I don't know 10 people. Start with one. All right. It just starts with one person. That's it. And then, oh, that worked. Now let me work on number two. Okay. And that worked. And then number three. All right. And next thing you know, you got your 10. You're a
Yeah.
C5 and you made $1,800, over $1,800 in money and product. So,
And it's really interesting for us too. For us, that Dornbirn event was so where we had to shift a little bit our thinking. And then all of a sudden things shifted. Instead of, for example, asking, oh my God, how do I get my 10? I already talked to all these people last month for the for the
right.
contest. I'm like, uh-oh, and that's constrictive thinking. It's like that thinking comes from a lack of. Well, guess what's coming back? A lack of. And it was kind of interesting because we both from that event, and that's why live events and calls like this are important so we can get in alignment. And we're like, you know what? Let's do this. And not just look at, oh my God, we have to find new people. And it just happened. It's
Yeah.
because we changed our thinking. And it's really kind of crazy how that works.
And the follow up. I cannot emphasize it enough.
Mhm.
People need what we have. You just have to help paint that picture as to how this is going to benefit them.
Yep,
All right. Once you understand their problem and then paint the picture, share stories. The Sealy testimonial page is absolutely, yeah, can you do it?
Yeah.
That Sealy testimonial page is absolutely phenomenal. And I really encourage you to utilize the stories that we have, invite people into Sealy Lifestyle. I'm approving people all the time. You may not see it because they're from Europe. All right, primarily. All right. It's another thing that they're doing that we're not doing as well as we could be. All right. So you talk to somebody, hey, at least can I invite you into Sealy Lifestyle? If they say no. And then also don't get off the phone with, well, who do you know that is suffering with some sort of health challenge or could benefit from this product? So those two things are really key. But let's up the numbers into Sealy Lifestyle. Let's start making some more posts in there from everybody and really get this thing going. Okay, so
Yep.
I don't have time. We don't have time right now for
For
questions on this. We'll cover that more next week or during the week if you got, questions you want to
Yeah.
bring up. We do got the corporate call starting here in 5 minutes.
Yeah. So, but thank you so much for coming. And I'm going to speak German for a
Okay,
bit.
yes, please.
Ja, ganz lieben Dank fürs Kommen. Und manchmal hört sich das alles ein bisschen überwältigend an, aber wirklich die Einfachheit von was halt ist, gerade jetzt die Damen, die hier sind. Wir sind ja wirklich das Business vom Gespräch her ist gar nicht so, aber das kommt jetzt vielleicht mehr. Und das ist ja das Business, dass wir das Produkt weiterleiten an die Mitmenschen. Und das ist ja das Schöne. Und wir können auch privat noch mal reden, auf einem privaten Call, wo wir dann Deutsch sprechen. Und da kann ich auch die Fragen vom Guy noch mal beantworten. Also wenn ihr Fragen zu diesem Thema habt. Und wie gesagt, dann können wir auch da noch mal drüber reden. Und ja, ich wollte mich ganz recht herzlich bedanken. Und in 5 Minuten ist Brad Hagers, oh my God, Sealy Corporate Call. Und manchmal ist eigentlich nur House Cleaning, wo er so ein paar Updates macht. Charlotte, guck mal, I love the hearts from Charlotte. Und ja,
Tom and Manu.
manchmal sind da ganz wichtige Sachen, die er sagt. Und ich muss auch besser werden, dass ich die mit euch teile, weil der Zeitunterschied ist ja halt doch ein bisschen blöd manchmal, weil das ja bei euch dann schon so spät. Aber ja, gut. Okay,
Done?
dann. Danke.
All right. From our balcony in Hawaii, wishing you all a great afternoon, and we will see you on the corporate call here now. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. Ciao.
I love
Corinne.